I want to share my story of personal transformation with you guys because I went from a super self-conscious, low self-esteem, socially anxious, scrawny little guy to depressed, wanted to unalive myself to where I am now, which is grateful to be alive every day, feel the most fit, strong, healthy I've ever felt in my life, socially confident in myself, and increasing that every single day. So it starts back in high school. For context, I'm 28 years old. So 2013, 2014 was when I was a sophomore, junior year of high school, somewhere around there. And that's when I started struggling on and off with depression. And when I got into college, my first and only year of college, that was the worst time of my life. Like, I was wanting to unalive myself. I never thought about going through with it, you know what I mean? But just the thoughts, like every single day. Isolating myself, depressed, like felt like I couldn't talk to anybody, felt like nobody loved me. It's just because I didn't love myself. And while I was in college, the 1 year in college, I started doing a lot of psychedelics. And that's only relevant because through basically doing psychedelics and kind of browsing on YouTube, I came across spirituality, Hinduism, Buddhism, that kind of stuff, meditation. And immediately once I came across it, something like deep within me resonated, like, dude, you need to start doing this. So I learned about it, started reading books, kept watching videos, and I started practicing meditation every single day, started doing affirmations every single day, just very simple, like 5 or 10. And the whole practice of my meditation, affirmation, and a little bit of yoga in the morning took me maybe 15 to 20 minutes when I first started. And after just a couple of months of that, it completely changed my life. Like, everything started to turn around, and that's when I knew, okay, I had hit rock bottom and now I'm just going up from here. Now, life obviously goes up and down. It's not just a straight up, but meditation and affirmations completely changed my life. And then a couple of years later in 2019, I think 2020. So for context, I was in college in 2017. That's when I dropped out, was my last semester, 2017. And in 2020 is when I discovered breathwork, maybe 2019, through a friend. And once I discovered that, did it for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, bro, this is crazy. Because at the time I was still smoking weed like every single day, addicted to weed. And adding the practice of breathwork every single morning made me realize, hey, I don't need these things outside of myself to feel amazing. Like, I started to feel just insanely good from doing breath work. If you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to post some guided breathworks on here soon in the next week or two. But the discovering breathwork, adding it to my routine, leveled up my life. So rock bottom, discovered meditation, affirmations, breathwork took me way up here. And I mean, I was absolutely vibing. Then, time went by. I continued to do those things. I didn't do my affirmations really much anymore because I just started feeling really good throughout the day. And my self-talk was more and more positive, just more naturally positive. And then around 2022, I think, I found the movie The Secret. Now, that's probably the most popular movie. That's how a lot of people get into the whole manifestation stuff. It's the law of attraction, basically, is what it talks about. How your mind attracts everything into your life, and your thoughts create your reality. That was my first introduction into that. Once I saw the movie, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I started consuming as many podcasts as I possibly could about it, reading all the books, just anything and everything I could, because I'm just hella passionate about it, and it just fuels me. So once I learned about that, then I really, really got to know myself even more about, I still see there's some negative thoughts. Like, I still feel like I'm not good enough. So I started to continue to slowly change that over time. Then 2023, I got into a relationship, and it was good at the time. It lasted about 2.5 years, but if anybody gets into a relationship, you kind of fall off. Sadly, it's just how it is. A lot of the times you kind of fall off of the things that you were doing for yourself before. You just both get really involved in each other's lives, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But in hindsight, I slowed my growth at that time. But then in like 2024, I was still in the relationship, and I was like, okay, I really want to get back into this stuff. Started Joe Dispenza, like Joseph Murphy, so many different people. I was consuming everything I possibly could about it and applying the things as much as I could. And in 2025 is when I really started applying things. That's also when I got out of the relationship. And then that was probably the lowest that I was at since my time in college. And I was like, okay, I need to snap myself out of this. And because I had all the tools, the experience, the knowledge, sure, I had a rough, couple months. I had a rough period of time with the grief and everything, but I was able to get myself out of it with all the tools and the knowledge I have. I started focusing on myself again. Started going to the gym, which is another very important part of my journey. The fitness is insanely beneficial for you. Like the mind and body connection, you have to work on both. But anyways, so around 2025, so this is a year ago, I have so much knowledge, genuinely consumed so many books, watched all the like documentaries I could find about this kind of stuff, so many podcasts. I mean, there were jobs that I had where I didn't have to really talk to people. I would have an earbud in my ear, in one ear, and just listening to podcasts the whole entire shift, basically. So like 6, 8, 10 hours, depends on the job. And I just consumed so much, but I wasn't applying everything. So in 2025, a year and a half ago, is when I started to really apply everything that I've been learning. Really applying it to myself, working on my self-concept. That was something, once I learned about that, I was like, okay, this is so important, because the way we view ourselves is the way our life unfolds. Even though I had gone from a state of super low depression to like way up here, there's basically infinite growth, and you can always keep going up. And if you're not moving up, you're probably moving down. And so I realized that I had been moving down a little bit, started to get back on the train, started to get back on track. And I focused more, like I said, on myself, on my self-concept, building myself up. I saw things that I have been unconscious of for quite a while. Just really, really deep, like deep childhood, super deep, unconscious thoughts and beliefs and feelings about myself, such as most of the things that just about everybody has. I'm not good enough. I could never do this. People don't, I'm not worthy of that, blah, blah, blah. All that kind of bullshit. The stupid thoughts that are not true, that we've been conditioned to believe because the world genuinely is really negative, sadly. But then I started to work on those things through all the tools that I've learned, through breath work, to help get myself into a more positive emotional state, through meditation, to help my attention, focus my mind, become aware of my thoughts, through journaling. These are things I've been doing for years. At this point, it'd been like 7 years since I've been doing all this stuff. 6 years. And once I really started to implement it in a deeper way of focusing on my self-concept, focusing on, okay, every single thought that I have throughout the day affects my mood, affects the decisions that I make, affects the things I believe about myself and about the world. And so I started to become conscious of those thoughts and immediately changing them whenever I could. First thing was journaling them, becoming aware of them, becoming aware of the emotions that I just kind of sink down to. Even though I got out of the depression a long time ago, there is a human tendency to slide back down to negativity. And so if we're not consciously working towards positivity, working towards our goals, working towards becoming a better version of ourselves, we naturally slide back into mediocrity and into negativity. And it's nothing wrong with us. It's just kind of a human tendency, because our brain is not wired for thriving. It's wired for survival. So if we're surviving, it's like, okay, everything's good. Just be in your comfort zone. Doesn't matter. But then I intentionally started focusing on really working on those things, like I said. And in the last year and a half, I've seen the most tremendous amount of change in my life. Like, I feel like I've put together pieces of things that I didn't know before. Not that I didn't know, but just that I put things together in such a way where I was really able to transform myself. I mean, even after everything, especially after the breakup, I became aware of like, oh, I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I'm not worthy of love. I feel like afraid of people's judgment. I feel self-conscious around people. I feel, not worthy of things. I feel all of this shit. And I believe these, have these thoughts and feelings and beliefs. And then I started to really dive into them, transform them, and my life completely changed. I mean, I was 140 pounds. Now I'm 100 and almost 170 pounds just from going to the gym, being consistent after about a year of that. And mentally, like, I am the most socially confident I've ever been in my life. I'm not afraid to go talk to anybody. I'm very particular with who I talk to because I'm just an introverted person naturally, but like, I don't want to just go talk to random people and start up random conversations, but I can do that if I want to now. Like, I have the confidence to do that if I want to. I have the confidence within myself. I know, like, hey, I'm worthy, of all the things that I want. I inherently feel like I'm a valuable person. I have deep, deep love for myself that I've never had before. When I was depressed, I did not love myself. Over years of things that I described already, I started to love myself more and more and more. And then through things that I described already, situations that happened in my life, I became aware of, okay, there's even I can love myself even more. Like, there's even much more love and acceptance I can create and have for myself because I'm having these negative thought loops and this bullshit. And so I went from, this is a journey of about almost 10, coming up on 10 years now. It's been 8-9 years total since I went from depressed, wanting to unalive myself, or at least thinking about it, socially anxious, very, very low basically no self-esteem at all, just negative thoughts about myself all day, every day, how super critical to the point where it was just slowly over time deteriorating my mental health to where I am now. Oh, and I was also really skinny and weak to where I am now, which I'm the strongest, healthiest, most fit I've ever been in my life. I'm the most confident. My thoughts are the most aligned with what I want. And what I mean by that is I don't talk shit to myself anymore. And if I do, I catch it and I'm like, nope, that's not true. That's not true. That's not who we are anymore. I'm the most confident I've ever been in my life. Confident in myself. I mean, I'm out here at a public park. There's people like walking by, looking at me. I just don't give a shit, And I'm also the most socially engaging and confident I've ever been. Like, I can genuinely go up to any person I want and start a conversation. Back before my whole journey, I was so afraid to go talk to women. Now, it's not a huge focus of mine right now, but if I want to go approach any woman, I have zero problem doing that whatsoever. I have zero problem talking to anybody at all. And so, like, that is a massive transformation. And that's why I'm on here on socials, posting about the things that I've learned, because these things have genuinely transformed my life. And it started from the inside. I started to practice these practices that made me aware of my unconscious self, becoming aware of what I need to change, made me be able to increase my emotional baseline. So emotional baseline basically is, where do you usually hang out at feeling wise? Do you usually feel just kind of apathetic? Do you usually feel like neutral? Do you usually feel joyful? Do you usually feel depressed? Do you usually feel angry? And so raising my emotional baseline and changing the way I talk to myself in my own mind, changing my self-talk from being super critical, super negative, to much more positive, much more beneficial. And yeah, like, oh, and also, which is something that's not a huge focus of mine, but going from super skinny and weak and scrawny little guy, I mean, I wasn't necessarily weak for my size, but you know what I mean, to now 170 pounds, feel really confident, going to the gym every single day, every single week, 4 or 5 times a week, and just feeling the best that I ever have in my life. I mean, bro, my biceps were tiny a year and a half ago. Like, there was just nothing. I got pictures on my Instagram and stuff that I'll have shared, and I will continue to share my transformation in that way. But I think this video has been long enough. That's my story. That's how I transformed my life from depressed, anxious, low self-esteem, lack of confident version of myself to where I am now, of the most confident I've ever been in my life, grateful to be alive every single day, have the tools, most importantly, in my opinion, have all the tools that I need to be able to continue to grow and continue to elevate my life. In case, like I said, natural human tendency does fall back into comfort and into negativity. In case I ever do that again, I know how to get myself out. I know exactly what to do, how to do it. And hopefully I'm able to share those things with you guys. So thank you for watching. Thanks for sticking through the whole video. If my story resonates with you, if you're having similar, issues, problems, struggles in your life, I'm going to put a link in the description to my store, so you can go check out the products, the coaching, the services that I offer. If it's aligned, if you feel like you need some help, I'm here to help. And aside from that, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.